and the dead. I belong to no one.
Oh, well, there you have it. That's Vusi Mahlasela, and we've got him here on the program with us this morning. Let me tell you a little bit about this movie. It's been set in the 1980s. You saw the little clip there from the movie. Set in the 1980s South Africa, the film Shepherds and Butchers will have its world premiere at the Berlin Film Festival that's happening this coming Saturday. It basically follows the story of John Webber, a lawyer who faces his biggest test when he agrees to defend a prison guard who has killed 7 men. So, Vusi's here in studio with us, performing, of course, on that soundtrack. Lovely to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you.
So, it's such a pleasure to have you and see you as always. But the special thing about this is working, I imagine, alongside Anant Singh and putting together the music for this, because he's the producer of this particular movie, Shepherds and Butchers. What was it like?
Well, I got a call from Anant Singh, who is the producer of the movie, and then to sort of like really tell me about this movie, and he wanted me to participate because there's also one legend who wrote the song theme from the Bee Gees, Barry Gibb.
Yes.
And I collaborated with Barry Gibb on the song, me singing the first verse and then him singing the second verse. But of course, Anant Singh phoned me and then they flew me to Devon to go and watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then, of course, watching the movie, whatever, was really taken about, the story. And yes, it is the true story about the death penalty and about this guy who was more in participating about the killing of the hanging of these people. Yes.
Yeah. It must have been such an emotional a movie to watch, which I know we're going to obviously get to watch.
Very emotional indeed, but yeah. So it's one of a really great story, which is a really true story, of course, about Webster, who was an activist lawyer who really opted to defend this guy who killed 7 black men. But for me, watching the movie at the end, I was expecting, a verdict which was going to sort of like really, okay, this guy is going to be punished. But in some way, it is more about reflecting ourselves, because even everybody who were hanged, and even this guy who was participating because he was traumatized by these actions that he was taking part in hanging these people. He was traumatized by that and then ended up killing these 7 people. And this guy opted to sort of like really defend him. And it's all about, reflecting to ourselves to more point to the direction of the totalitarian of forgiveness in some way. Yeah. So a very powerful movie.
Indeed, it must be a very powerful movie. And, to try and capture it through your voice, I mean, your voice is exactly the right fit for it because it's emotional, it's got so much I'm
happy that, to collaborate with a legend like, Barry Gibb.
I'd love to know,
what
was it like? What was it like?
It was great. I mean, he wrote the song, and then, of course, he worked the song there in Miami, and then I had to fly to Durban to work in the studio to sort of like recorded my voice, me singing the first verse, and then of course he's singing the second verse with them. But also we have other important people who are participating in the movie. Of course, Anant Singh being the producer, and then the director, Oliver Schmitz, who was directing Philip Mapanzola, and then the great actor also, what's his name? Steve Coogan, who's also an Oscar nominee.
Yes.
So he's got quite a lot of very important people who was really taking part into this film, and then a very great, story.
Fantastic. I mean, you've done so many collaborations. To throw the name of Barry Gibb into the mix is just putting it into a pot of unbelievable people that you've managed to work with. But working with a guy like Barry, and obviously, I mean, you're working from far. You're in Durban, he's in Miami. What's that like?
It brings some kind of a pleasurable human feeling in some way, and then of course working with the names like Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees and all that, I didn't see it coming. But of course, Anant Singh that I think the voice of Vusi Mahlasela will really resonate very well into bringing, the message of the song. And of course, I was very much happy with me participating in the song, and the lyric content, whatever it is, like expressing everything, putting it much more into the fore. Yeah. And he did a really great work, Mr. Barry Gibb, by writing, the melodies and everything, all that. And just that collaboration of me singing the first verse and then him singing the second verse and then the chorus, it's really working wonders. Great together.
Your tones are very similar, to hit those notes.
When I talk is different. When I talk is different, but when I sing...
How do you do that, though? I never get that.
Yeah,
like, if I had to sing, believe me, my voice wouldn't be up there. It would be right down there.
Wow. I don't know why I'm called the voice, but my voice is hoarse when I'm speaking, but when I sing. But I think I'm happy that, God has granted me this talent of the voice that I use, especially even things that are which are more of a great call as well. But collaborating with such great, legends with Barry Gibb, and I've done work with the Dave Matthews, Paul Simon, and all that. Yeah. So it's a really that musical energy of bringing, the really thing into the fore, so that people could understand the stories and everything, the message in the best way.
Yeah, I remember when Dave Matthews finally performed in South Africa. Finally, after all these years. I mean, he's so massive all around the world. Being from South Africa, he kind of avoided performing here so he could get away from it all. I remember when he finally did hit the stage, I said that moment was my Justin Bieber moment, because all these young kids were going mad because Justin Bieber was here. But Dave Matthews, again, another legend to perform with. And I mean, whenever I think of Dave Matthews, somehow I think of you. How many times have you collaborated with him?
I've collaborated quite a lot of times. I don't remember. And sometimes, of course, in very big stadium, about 20,000 people and all that.
You guys just lose.
Yeah, but I think what also is important, it will be really great to see that kind of collaboration that I do with Barry Gibb. Maybe if they come to South Africa, we do something here.
Imagine.
But what is important is people to watch this film, Shepherd and Bushes.
Yeah.
And the song Angels, I think, I'm so happy that, he crafted this and we did a really great job together by collaborating and putting the melody, the voice and everything together.
Together like that. Yeah. I just want to ask you, obviously you've seen the film. It now has its debut. Its world premiere is happening in Berlin at the Film Festival on Saturday.
February.
What do you think? I mean, how do you think the world's going to react? Obviously it is very emotive for you. It's a South African story. But what about the rest of the world? Do you think they'll relate to it?
Well, they relate to it, of course, taking from the history that we come from, in South Africa, and it's about the true story of the death penalty.
Yeah.
And then of course it was established, but of course things that were really going through the South African prison, and then I have met some of the comrades who were supposed to go to death penalty, but they were given them pardon because of some political. So when I watched the film, I was like, really, I don't know how to express this. It's so emotion and all that, but at the end, because of this guy who killed 7 black people, who was a young white guy, he was working in this prison where he participated in hanging these people. I was expecting a different verdict, but understanding that, the activist, the lawyer, find out that what is it that really drive this guy to do this bad deed, because he was traumatized about what he was participating in the prison by hanging these people. Amazing. So it's such a very powerful thing, whatever. And then just to watch the story and everything, because we've lived through that time in the 80s when people had been hanged and all that, and we came to meet some of the people who were there, but telling us the story. But seeing the film, I was like really sitting there and all that. I was like, whoa. But really as I say, of course, it was bad, but even the people who were sort of going to the hanging and everything, of course they committed some bad deeds, some killed, robbed and all that, but even him killed, whatever. But it was because of the environment, the situation there, because of apartheid. Yeah. They didn't choose that there will be robbers or killers and everything. It was just the imbalances in the country and everything, whatever, that brought to that. Yeah. And I think everybody took part in doing their wrongs and everything. And I think it is also something which is saying to us we need to reflect more into the innermost of ourselves and reflect when we watch this film and give the totalitarian of forgiveness, because it's very, very, very important.
Well, listen, I cannot wait to see it. I know that we'll probably only get it towards the end of the year, but nonetheless, I'll be there watching it. It's called Shepherds and Butchers. Vusi has worked with Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees on the soundtrack for this. It's called Angels. It sounds absolutely beautiful. I know we played into the interview with it. Vusi, thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man. You've also got your Acoustic Africa tour coming up in the US.
Yes, with Abu Quaita, yes. And then Mr. Barry Gibb, I'm sure, from Miami will come and watch.
Good.
As,
and then you bring him back to South Africa.
That will be great.
It would be nice. Only you can do that. That's a fact. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very pleased.
All right, let's take a break.
In the rain and the dead, I belong to no